Okay, hey everyone, Daryl here from DH Garden Center. So again, we're just gonna be going through a lot of our older shrubs here and showing you guys some of the pruning that I do through the winter time, and some of the cleanup. So all right, let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick video here and show you how to prune some of these older blueberry shrubs. I've had this one for 10 years plus. I haven't done much pruning over the years, so you can see there's a lot of these old stems here. I've already gone ahead and pruned off some of these beforehand, so I'm just gonna show you this guy I've already cut. But yeah, you wanna take off any of these older ones. They're not gonna be producing a whole lot of blueberries anymore off these old stems. As you can see, this whole side here is already almost dead. So those branches are already finished. And then as I go through, I prune off any like the dead or diseased stuff as well, anything crossing. As you can see, this branch here, it's going to be rubbing on this branch here, on these two branches here. So you don't want any branches rubbing, which will cause more damage to your plant. So I'm going to go ahead and take this whole branch off on this side here. 1 second here. Yeah, so I'm just going to take off the part of it down there, so that'll stop any rubbing on these branches here. Again, yeah, you just want to make sure the frame of it looks good. This part here, you can see a little bit of rubbing probably happen up there. So I'm going to go down to the next bud and chop it at the next size just to stop anything like that rubbing over the winter time. And as you see, like the frame of the tree already looks pretty good just from taking off those two branches there. I'm going to keep this one for this year just to kind of see what happens. As you can see, it's already getting old on the top, so it's probably only going to produce a handful of blueberries this year. But I'll still leave it for now because it has a new shoot at the bottom here. And then as for this older stem here, I think I'm just going to go ahead and take this whole piece off here. You can see it's quite large. They always say like a third of the plant, but this will be almost like 50% that I'm cutting off this year. I've done in the past, and the blueberries still produce quite well, and they don't go through too much shock from having too much of it cut off. So yeah, again, I'm just going to go in there, take this whole branch off near the base there at the bottom. There we go. And now with all the plant using all that energy now, we'll go into all the new fruit here this year, and I'll probably still even get a few more new shoots coming up. You can see at the bottom here, this one does have, looks like possibly some water damage from last year, or it's actually broken. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this guy right off at the base there as well. Kind of sucks too sometimes because, you know, this is a new shoot and I'd like to keep it, but it's got damage already on it, so I don't want it to spread to the rest of the plant if there's anything damaged with it. So again, this branch here, like I said, that I was thinking about keeping, now that I look at it, it does have a lot of, like the stems are getting old here. There's a lot of dead kind of dieback at the top here. So I think what I'll do is take off just the one side this year and keep this shoot, because that shoot still looks actually quite nice. And then at this stage, this is kind of where I'm going to stay. So I'm already done. When you cut on an angle. Today is a drier day, but if it's going to be raining, you kind of want to avoid the rainy days and try to do it on a dry day, just so like the cut will heal over after you're done. Because kind of think of it as your finger. If your finger is if you got a cut on your finger and you get too much water in your hand constantly throughout the day, you know, it could cause damage to your finger. So no difference than a human. You always want to make sure when you cut, it stays dry, and you don't get any disease or water traveling down the stem and damaging more of the plant. So there you go. There's what the plant looks like afterwards. Again, I'll just kind of go through and prune off just some of the tips that are black from the dieback last year. It also dried out last year quite a bit in the summertime, so it has some dieback just from drying out. But yeah, I'll see how it goes this year. And if some of these old stems don't produce much this summer, I'll probably end up cutting them off in the summertime when the plant starts producing some new stems. And then hopefully we'll get a lot more fruit off of this one this year. And for the rest of them, I'm kind of going through all the fruit right now. The blueberry bushes, I'm going to go through throughout the wintertime. You can see this one here, example, again, these are like a dwarf variety. This is a variety called Jelly Bean, I believe, or not, it's Peach Sorbet. So again, some of these older branches have died off completely. So again, go in there, cut off any of your dead, diseased. This whole branch is already on its way out. Again, I'll go through, take that guy off, take these older canes off here, because I did get a lot of growth coming up next year. I mean, you do have some buds on this branch here. I could have kept this one, but again, that could have been a lot of leaf growth too. So I'm just focusing this year really on getting rid of all the older canes and trying to produce more of these branches here, which is what you want, a lot of this new growth. And that's all your new growth is gonna be your stronger points to giving you all the, better fruit in the long term. So again, every about 4 to 6 years is where you kind of want to go in and prune off all your older branches, anything that's not fruiting much on your blueberries, and even your gooseberries as well. And just to kind of clean them up and hopefully get some more fruit for you and your family the following year. All right, so yeah, I got a few examples there on what you should be doing for the winter time. And I'm going to go through and prune these guys a little bit later on. These are some of my older bushes as well, and like I said, they've gotten fairly old over the years. They got some pretty old canes on them. This here is a good example of a cane you want to keep. You can see the buds are quite swollen right now, and this cane goes all the way down. You can still see it's a fresh branch. So this is maybe about 3 years old now. So I'll keep this for another 2 more years, let it fruit out, and then I'll go in and I'll cut it off once it gets kind of around this stage here, maybe a little bit older. Or if the plant's not going to produce much fruit. You can see there's a lot of buds on here, so I don't want to be pruning a whole lot off this one this year, just until I see how the plant performs in the summertime. But yeah, I'll do a few of these guys a little bit later on. These are exactly the same as the other shrubs there. Some of these are pretty old, so I'll have to kind of see how they flush out coming up in the spring. And as for black and my purple raspberry bushes, unfortunately, someone actually planted my gooseberry in the same pot as my blackberry. I don't know who did, but I gotta take these two out because that's not gonna be good for both plants. But again, I'm gonna go in here and prune off some of these old canes. So this one here, as you can see, it's a fairly old cane. Would have fruited last year. So again, I'm gonna take off that one, take off this old cane. With raspberries, like they'll fruit on the second year of growth. So you can see this one here, there's the fruit from last year. So you can tell, these canes have already fruited, so you don't want these canes anymore. So this cane I'm gonna cut off as well. And this one here did fruit last year. So in the summertime, you'll get all these new shoots coming up in the summertime, and those shoots will be your fruiting shoots for next year. So always remember the second year shoot is going to be your fruit, and the ones that have already fruited, you want to get rid of those. And if they do fruit, it's really only like one fruit or something like that. There's really nothing worth keeping off of the older stems. And that one there already fruited last year, so again, that one comes out. So now I'm left with these two shoots here. And normally in the springtime with raspberries, whether they're in a pot or in the ground, you want to keep any shoot that's basically the size of your finger. So any shoots that's smaller than your finger, you kind of want to cut those shoots out. Like for example, this one here. This one's pretty small. And the reason for that is because a lot of these shoots, they get shaded out by the bigger canes. And if they get shaded out, they won't fruit, but the plant's still using energy to grow these stems. So if you're looking for more fruit production, you want to cut out anything that's less than the size of your finger or your pinky finger. So these two canes here are a good potential canes for fruit. This one I'll leave for now just to see if it grows out next year. If not, I'll cut that small cane out. And then in the summertime, I'll get a whole bunch of new shoots coming up once these canes have already fruited. And as for these long shoots, a lot of people keep these long shoots. They will, unfortunately, as you see, it rooted into my apple tree. So I can take that out. What I'm going to do is probably actually take that out, and I'm going to put that in a pot, root this bottom of the cane, so I can get another plant out of it. But in general, the plant usually doesn't produce fruit all the way up this whole stem. That's a lot of energy for the plant to send up in the springtime to try to fruit. So I go through and I cut off at least about probably half of my my canes. So I'll go up probably around here. I can see these buds here are starting to swell up. So I'll just kind of choose one of the thicker buds here. As the stem gets thinner and thinner and thinner, it's not going to produce much. So I'm going to go back to one of these buds here. I think I'm going to go maybe around there. There's this nice solid bud right there starting to grow. Same as below. But again, I don't want too much growth, so I'm going to chop there. And this will be my fruiting canes for next year. This shoot here, as you can see, it rooted into my apple tree. So I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to dig it out this year, this winter, and I'm going to repot it into a pot. And that way I'll get a whole new plant for next year. And this is the purple raspberry. So these guys are really sweet, a lot sweeter than the red ones. Same as the black raspberries. They're all pretty good. All right, so I hope you liked the video. Subscribe and hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you again on the new video. Have a good day.